duodenum, jejunum, ileum, through that ileocecal sphincter, into the large intestine. Unabsorbed water, undigested material, of which there could be significant, a lot of it, enter into what is the large intestine or colon. As you can kind of see, excuse me, the colon or the large intestine is comprised of a number of different parts. The first portion where undigested material enters in, it's called the cecum. Hanging off the cecum there, we have the appendix. It's just a lymphatic structure, helps mount, helps release content into the large intestine to mount an immune response. There's no digestion there. Then we go up the ascending colon, across the transverse colon, down the descending colon, into this little jig jog here called the sigmoid colon. Lastly, into the rectum, where we store it until we are ready to get rid of it through defecation, and that goes out the anal canal / anus. As you can kind of see, this looks drastically different, really, from the small intestine. Okay. We have a couple of structures here that we see here that we don't necessarily see in the small intestine, and vice versa. Remember, the intestine has those plicae, those villi, and those microvilli. Surface area upon surface area upon surface area. Here in the large intestine, I don't really see that. Okay. There's not as much absorption going on here. Water, some minerals, but for all intents and purposes, there's not a whole heck of a lot of materials being absorbed in the large intestine. So I don't have a need for all of those adaptations in the small intestine. I don't have those here. What I do have is a huge amount of goblet cells. Goblet cells are doing what they always do in any location. We just have a lot of them here. Okay. As water is kind of pulled from the fecal material, from the chyme, from the undigested contents, obviously that dries out. So I need something to help lubricate the tube. So when it contracts, I can push this content through it. And that's where we have all these goblet cells. Okay. Anything that is unabsorbed, that constitutes your fecal matter, undigested material, any bacteria that sloughed off, any intestinal cell that sloughed off, and you slough off intestinal cells like every 7 days. So your poop is more than just undigested stuff. So a lot of contents in there, cells, bacteria, undigested stuff, fiber, all that makes up your fecal matter. And fecal matter actually has different grades as well. If you didn't know that, now you do. There's a whole classification system based on the consistency of your feces. It's fantastic. Obviously, it goes without saying that it would make a good potential essay question on the exam to be able to maybe describe some of these various different organs and stuff that's happening, being secreted, produced, broken down, whatever, some of the secretions and some of the functions of these things. Maybe some of the adaptations, right, that we have. Like the stomach has that third layer of muscle to help break down and grind up that bolus of food. The small intestines with all of those various different ways to which increase surface area for absorption. Large intestine with goblet cells. Bacteria. We haven't talked about that. That's going to be in the next section here. Okay, there's bacteria in there that help break down materials that we don't have enzymes for. Okay. So that would make a good short answer question. I would be very specific. I wouldn't ask you to, describe every single organ, every single thing that it secretes, and every single function. I wouldn't do that. I may ask for a couple of them, 2 or 3 of them, something like that. That would be how I would ask that question on an exam.